Welcome everybody to episode 117. Let's see, let's get Rob. Yo, what's good?
What's up, champ?
How are you?
Man, I'm alright. Can't complain, won't complain.
Hanging in there?
Son, I'm hanging on, man. But good thing I'm not hanging on by a thread, bro. For real, son. What's up with you, man? How you been holding up?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm good.
Family's good, kids is good?
Yeah, everybody good. It was a quick week too. Like, feel like the week went by mad fast.
Super fast, right?
Yeah,
March itself is out of here. Keeping it real.
yeah, no,
March is been like pew.
yeah,
So, but I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful that I'm able to do anything that I'm able to do at this point. I take nothing for granted, man. You know what I mean? I get up in the morning, I'm able to do all that I can do. Put that on there too. My man, Steve G.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying? I can't even complain,
we got a hell of a show coming on Monday, boy, with Baby Paul and DJ
Yeah.
X. Yo, a lot of people not familiar with Baby Paul's work. He was one of the beat miners. Did some classic production for Nas, classic production for AZ, of course for the Boot Camp Click, Black Moon. This dude resume is thick.
Listen, man. Um, when you've made a mark such as what he has, and to keep yourself low, I think that's success right there.
Oh, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? Where you're not overly saturated with you know what I mean? Not everyone knows who you are, but those who know who you are or need to know you are, those are the ones who know who you are. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's a great comfortability to be in, man.
Nah, that's a fact. Yo, so did you get a chance to see that Drake donated $1 million to LeBron James I Promise School, and it's $1 million from winnings that he got from I think like online roulette. What did you think about that?
So hold on. He donated his winnings from gambling to LeBron.
He won $1 million and decided that he was going to donate the winnings to
But look, this,
LeBron's
this
I
dude,
Promise.
this dude, this dude got money out the yin yang. But donating apparently isn't something that's new to Mr. Drake.
Hmm.
You know, he's been donating money all across. I mean, the video God's Plan, the money that came from that, he was donating. He was, he's given a student or so 50,000 for tuition.
Mm.
So I don't see nothing wrong with that. What up, Bates? I see you, King.
Yo, what's good, dude?
Um, he's also donated. From what I understand, he also donated 100,000 as a national bailout for those who were protesting Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
Um, man, listen, man. More if you ask me, and I think I don't know if you've seen. There was an interview with Swish. What's your man name? He played with LeBron. I can't even think of his name right now.
J.R. Smith?
J.R. Smith.
Mhm.
When he talking about, yo, brothers, I seen brothers throw 60 grand at a strip club.
Yeah.
When that money can go respectively to an organization, they can go to group homes, they can go anywhere. You know, people have the prerogative to do what they wish with their money, but when you do something constructive as that, and I hear LeBron School, I understand LeBron School is producing some good young talent too. So I I think it's a good gesture, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Despite who he might be, despite whatever feelings people may have, even if he shit, if I want some money playing CeeLo, you know what I mean? And I decided I needed to give it to somebody less fortunate, I would.
Yo, did you know LeBron School was specifically designed for underperforming kids?
I didn't
That's
know that.
Yeah, I think that's dope. Like that's for kids that had struggles with math and reading. And I guess
What,
it's called I Promise because essentially if they can actually deliver on their end of their bargain with their academics, then everybody's guaranteed a scholarship to college.
Right.
But back to
You
Drake
know,
though.
kids need that. You as a teacher, you know, kids need that. Kids need the encouragement, push forward. And math and science are two of the things that cripple us. I hear grown folks to this day, I can't stand math. If you only knew you are math, everything about you is math. You know what I mean? But you know, but that's dope that his school is catered to helping struggling kids in certain subjects
Yeah, yeah.
to
Yo,
achieve their goal.
the Drake joint though was interesting about like the stuff with Drake is that for the longest I've always been somebody that what's good, Corey? For the longest I've
Yo,
always
let
Yo,
me
been somebody
yo,
that's
let me flip this joint around.
go ahead. Been very much when it comes to like the donation stuff, like there's really not much of a need to make it public that you've donated.
right.
But I mean, I guess in his case, I look at it as like, you know what, the donation is wonderful, but the other part of it, the caveat is the dude said that he's gonna actually personally drop the money off like to the school. You know, so
Right.
think about how much of a life changing experience that's gonna be for the students to have an opportunity to meet Drake. Like, yeah, the money is gonna get into the pipeline and help fund whatever it is they're gonna do. But I don't think a lot of these dudes realize the ability they have to actually change some of these kids' lives by just being present.
Just by being present, B.
Yeah.
I used to get mad back in the days that I would go to a Knick game, but Patrick Ewing never came to the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? Or I couldn't see Dominique Wilkins. They're like, where are these guys? These guys is making millions. How come they ain't showing up to my community center? And I'm respectively saying the Knicks, you know what I'm saying? Because being from New York, or even someone from the Giants or someone from the Yankees. You know what I mean? I mean, I know your lifestyle is not that grand where you can't just, you know, come and check in on a community.
Yo,
That
I'm gonna do you one better. I could live with the fact that they don't come out into the community. What used to bother me is seeing you see how some of these dudes go down the tunnel and the kids put their hand down to give them five and stuff like that, and dudes won't even give them five. It's
straight
crazy.
beeline, sir.
But yo, the
Nah,
flip side of that is yo, some of the biggest dudes, like the biggest name dudes, Steph Curry before the game, coming out there taking pictures, signing signs for the kids and stuff like that. Like I don't think these dudes realize the impact that they have on kids.
That's
yo,
true. Go ahead, Cole. Go ahead, Cole.
let me add to what you just said, Shannon. Like, you know what's so crazy about all that? Like, there's never no a group of black inner city kids that sit front row.
Oh,
And when them NBA
sitting in
players
the
go
front.
into the locker room, yeah, they
Hmm.
got all that money and they got the means to grab like 30 kids inside the community and have them
Right,
sit front row.
right.
And when they be walking to the tunnel, they be signing autographs for white kids, man. That's
That's a
mind-boggling to
fact.
me. But they have an
That's a fact.
impact.
Hmm.
They do have a positive impact on black kids. The black kids make them who they are.
That's a fact, man. By buying paraphernalia,
Hmm.
buying them
Facts.
sneakers, you know what I mean? I just outside trying to emulate a move they seen on TNT the night before. All of those things. Like I said, man, I was like, why can't one of these Nick guys come up here to the community center and just, you know, they got the means, but I guess you gotta want to do it. You know what I mean? If it's not in you, you want to do it. I think that's the great thing about reciprocity, man. You pay it forward. If someone has done it for you, you do it for somebody else. So
That's a fact. Yo, you know what's another thing that I debate with people sometimes around like the importance of people making this information public that they actually doing these donations. Like sometimes I think it's a value. There are other times where I think people are doing it just for clout. In Drake's instance, like I didn't get a sense that he was doing it to get a look. I mean, Drake is Drake. Drake don't need he don't need a
you
look.
don't need no clout. Yeah, you don't
But
need no clout.
but yo, you know you think about it like there are people that have received services from many people that nobody knows who funded the program. There are all kind of programs in existence that people would be shocked if they found out who was funding them. Good and bad people with funded programs, but for some reason there's always this emphasis to publicize, you know, who donated what or when people donate. And then you get the other part where dudes come out and talk about, yo, they just donating because it's a tax write-off. That's a fact. It is a tax write-off, but that doesn't mean that the money is not going to
Good, good
if you got the
calls.
right people getting the money that is going to a good
Mhm.
cause. You know, sometimes I think we just get so lost and caught up in all this other stuff that don't really have anything to do with the cause or the money.
I agree, man. People just need to mind their business. If you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, don't worry about what
What's the
somebody else does, but you know, people got their own opinions.
Hmm.
what's the issue with that? Is too much criticism behind that? for
What?
with Drake giving LeBron some money for the school?
Nah, I don't think it's criticism behind it, but you know dudes is gonna come out the woodwork and be like, yo, this is a tax write-off for Drake. There's
Oh yeah,
contrarians to everything though. You know, like
yeah, yeah.
anytime
Yes,
somebody
sir.
does something, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, somebody always gonna have an opposing view on it.
Yes,
And
sir.
That's the cr-
the talking
but
point.
that's the crazy thing though. Like I think the naysayers don't understand. They don't. I don't think they get it. If he go buys a Rolls Royce, is a problem,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? So if he needs to dump $1 million for tax purposes, why not do it somewhere positive? That make a lot of sense.
Makes total sense, yo.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I think the imagery could have been a little different. I think he could have, they could have got a podium together, went in the urban community and did it a little better instead of how they announced it. But he gonna get criticized regardless, man.
No matter what you do, you're gonna get criticized. Someone's gonna always say, "Oh, his hair wasn't right. Got his beard's too long," or breath stink. It don't even fucking matter. People always got
Yeah,
some shit to face, though.
yeah, he gonna
Man. Or
criticize
the other
regardless, man.
Or the other thing is that people gonna say is like, yo, well, it's funded from his gambling winnings. Like, oh, he won $1 million in roulette.
That,
But yo, do
that
y'all
part I
know
didn't
that?
know, son.
Yo,
I didn't know
you
that
know
part.
that technically the money from the lottery is supposed to go to fund education?
Facts, facts. But
That
It
but
not
is.
yo,
gambling?
did you know the money that goes in the lottery is confiscated through drug busters? Did you even think about that? Like, yo, how crazy is that? You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
yo, this is one racket ass country, man. Everyone got their hands in the pot on
uh,
some degree of measure or another, man.
It's dirty.
For real, son.
yo,
But yo, shout out to Drake though, man. You know what I mean? That's a good look. Them kids have definitely benefited, whether it's books, school trips,
hmm
whatever incentive is if that money is made for, those kids would definitely benefit from it. So shout out to him, man.
yo, or just the fact of getting a chance to see him. Yo, Corey, I don't know if you had this experience when you was in 198, but I remember in 198 where you remember they used to have Junior Achievement. They had a program called Junior Achievement, and it was like somebody from the business world would come in, and it would be somebody, a local
Nah, you know
person
what
from your
happened?
neighborhood. You ain't have it?
Nah. You know what? Nah, what we had was the 42nd precinct drug unit come in and show us the paraphernalia, like the crack needles and shit, in the briefcase. I think it cycled though, right? I think each year they was doing something different, but it was always 42nd precinct, always, bro.
Nah,
From
we
198 to
we had
158.
Nah, we had when I was in 198, we had Junior Achievement come in, and it was a woman that she lived in the community, Latina too, lived in the community, and I think she worked for like IBM or something like that. And she spent the day in there basically talking to people about IBM and business stuff like that. Not on a complex level, but more so it was just about like the representation of people being able to see like, yo, somebody from the hood actually got a job in corporate America, and they came back to talk to the kids. And I just think that
Right,
there's so much value in representation that sometimes gets lost,
right.
like, and I could see
Bro,
why people that's successful don't want to come back though.
what we had in the 90s, Shannon, ain't not I don't think that's happening right now. Period.
I don't think
I
anything
think
that's happened in the '90s is rolled over into today's time. Not a thing.
n-
And I caught the
not even. I
tail
don't even
end of
think
you
these kids
saying
get
the
hygiene classes.
the 47 precinct came to your school.
Nah, the 42nd
Oh, for the
precinct.
second.
Yo,
Okay.
bro, I be telling my wife all the time, like, cause she went to a Catholic school. They didn't have the same. They didn't have the same privilege of having people come to the school like they
Right.
did in the public school. We had fire. We had the fire department come to the school. They taught us, the safety drills, drop
Right.
and roll.
Right.
They took us to 42nd precinct and showed us the little cell. So some of us that got it, like me and his brother, like me and Shanon's brother, like in a mob of us that understood it is where we at today.
That's
Cause
right.
we
Because you
seen
like,
it.
look, yeah,
Yeah,
I know
we
exactly where
seen
you're
it
going.
earlier. We seen it early on. Like, nah, this is not it. And
Yeah.
it was bad enough that you had crack valves and shit like that on the floor. So if you couldn't pick up the education back then, man, like you was a victim.
It shows today what happened back then. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
That's an
Yeah.
absolute fact.
Yeah, that's
So,
that's it's crazy. But yo, speaking on speaking on representation, what are you guys' thoughts on Ketanji Brown Jackson? You know, possibly about to become the first Black woman Supreme Court justice in this country. What do you think about that?
Um, I got mixed views. I mean, I watched some of that hearing. Just the line of questioning was throwing me off, and I already knew the race shit was going to be in there. Like Senator Cruz and Senator Graham, I was really getting
Hmm.
upset. I was like, if I ever see these people in the street, I might just throw a bottle at them, just on GP, and walk the other way. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
lady, just imagine, right? Having such an accomplished academic and law career, that's your last hurdle before you be seated into Supreme Court. You got to go through this asshole of a questioning. What is your opinion on women? And what was crazy to me was that all these things they stuck on child pornography as if was she talking about us? Was she going to make a determination about my background? What the fuck is going on? Why are you bringing up child pornography now? Child pornography been going on as long as y'all have probably been in office. Half of y'all are probably the fucking culprits. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Facts.
And you want to sit here and malign this lady because, all right, she might have made a choice in judgment with a couple of cases and let some guys go for 3 months probation, so on and so forth. But you're not speaking on her record of those who are doing 30 and 40 years
Right.
for the same exact crime. So why are we playing apples and oranges? I didn't like that at all. And also, there was another question of that came to her about our presidents are not kings. Why are you asking that?
Mm.
Why are you
Insulting her
asking that?
insulting her intelligence.
They're trying to insult her. Yeah, son. And then she hit him head. She's like, Article 1, the Congress makes the law, first of all. Then
Right.
she hit him with Article 2, the president is responsible for executing the law. And she just went down the road. She's like, look, you're not going to twist and turn my words or anything up in here. I'm going to hit you, man. I'm a judge. These questions y'all are asking me has nothing to do with me by being a judge.
Right.
Mm.
So
Right.
that in itself had me pissed off. Cory Booker, his statements, I enjoyed that because she needed to be celebrated instead of chopped in half. You know what I mean? So I appreciated that. I mean, this lady sat in front of 45 senators to malign, twist, and misscrew her words just to see if she had the wherewithal. And some of it made her real emotional, but I think she held her character the way she should, man. You know what I mean?
You know something though? To me, when I look at stuff like this, like you know, it's all political theater anyway. So anytime they have
That's
these,
all it is. It got nothing to do
yeah,
with the Constitution. It's all political.
it's grandstanding. And I think also, like, to me, when they start looking at like her judicial record, to me it's easy to Monday morning quarterback stuff also. Like, you know, as a judge, you put in a
Yeah.
position where you have to make certain calls. Some of the
Right.
some of the decisions you make as a judge are going to be good decisions. Some of the decisions you make are going to be bad. I guess that's why they have appeals built in also. You know, those
Right.
confirmation hearings, to me, I think that they too much grandstanding by certain senators to ask questions
Right.
or to attempt to show up whoever the nominee is. The other thing that I noticed with a lot of these confirmation hearings also is that
Hmm.
whenever they feel like there's a political or party imbalance and the possibility of a party losing midterm
Yeah.
elections or losing elections or whatever, they want to pass these people through super
Hmm.
fast while they still have the
Hmm.
ability to pass them. Like some of the scrutiny, like if people really got in there and really scrutinized these potential Supreme Court justices how they should,
Hmm.
then it really would be beneficial. Because
Hmm.
the scrutiny that they have going on now is just like it's silly stuff. I think there's a lot that needs to be revisited when it comes to Supreme Court justices though. Like this life appointment
Yeah.
stuff. That's crazy to me to appoint somebody on there
They
for life. Like
they need
I just
they
don't think
need
that makes sense.
they need an expiration date.
Definitely,
Definitely.
definitely.
They
Like
Yeah.
definitely need an expiration date, and they need some young ones. They need some young blood there,
yo,
cause
but they
the
got people
times is
being
the
forty
times are
years
moving
old.
too fast.
Right.
Huh?
They
You need
got
some fresh ears. You need
nah.
some
They got
fresh ears out there.
nah. Yo, if you think about like who's the last woman that went in? that Trump and them rushed through. I forget her name, but she's
Yeah,
probably like
she's a baby.
she's in her 40s, yeah, right. And then
Yeah,
Kavanaugh is that older, right?
but the scary part about those two is they narrow-minded.
They're ultra
They
conservative.
viewpoint ultra conservative, bro. Like, and it's so conservative that they damn near 100% racist. Where they come from,
See that?
100%, bro. Like,
Yeah.
in Kavanaugh's situation, you could tell by his temperament that he can't handle pressure. He did the
Right.
typical white boy shit, and his lid blew when the pressure was on him,
Yeah, he looked
right?
crazy.
Started
Yeah,
turning
he
red in
looked
the face.
right like he was on a spin cycle, like it was over for him. He couldn't handle the pressure. So how is it that
Nah.
you even? But they passed him, like Shannon said, they passed him through.
Hmm.
Trump and them wanted to get him through because elections was coming up.
Yeah, that's what they do.
But you asking this black woman about child molestation and pornography and all that, and Kavanaugh was he was
Guantanamo
the rape,
Bay. Asking about Guantanamo
like,
Bay. What do you feel about letting out the terrorists? What do you think? We got terrorists running around this country now. You
Yo,
worry
it's
about
crazy.
that was crazy to me.
you think that's something? Did you hear them ask her to define a woman? They was like, yo, what makes a woman? Tell me the definition of a woman.
Oh,
They asked her that.
that was the white chick asked her that. That was crazy. You just might as well say, yo, you speak very well like 30 times. Just keep telling her that. Like, you just gonna insult
Right,
this lady
right,
intelligence all
right.
the
You're
time.
trying
Like,
to install her intelligence. And she
the
looked
only
at her like, what the hell does that have to do with anything pretty
see that's what
much?
see for me when it comes to like high profile black people like that, I need a little bit of ghetto-ness. I need to, yo, what the fuck are you asking me that shit for?
Right,
Like, what are you asking me that for? But
right.
was the twist on that whole situation for me is just everything went wrong and right with that, but I just want to see a black person with a black man or a black female. That's it. I'm tired of seeing like Camilla
Yeah,
Harris, she got a white husband.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
But see that,
And
but that's part of being accepted, in my opinion.
correct. And
You know what I'm
access.
saying?
And
And make you
access.
feel safe, and access too, to make you feel
Right.
safe by going in these arenas that they might
Right.
feel a little lenient on you when it comes
Right.
to questioning. I mean, because Senator Durham, he kind of wrapped it up pretty nice at the tail end of it, letting her like, look, all of what is taking place, you people are just mean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People are going to try to take you out of character. But pretty much
Right.
he was saying 90% of what you've done, you're the perfect candidate to be sitting in the
Right.
Supreme Court. You've done everything that
Right.
was necessary. You got all the school, and the girl got so many mentors who say, look, just go in there and handle it. And she handled it with grace. You're always going to have a detective, just like we said before. You're going to always have someone who's going to be critical about what you do, what you said. They always digging in the fucking past for shit. You know what I'm saying? To pull it up, something happened when you was a teenager. Yeah, why'd you steal that bag of popcorn when you was a fucking kid?
She,
Okay.
she's the example of a black perfect career person like Obama was. Yep,
Yeah.
they say you gotta be perfect as a black person to even play in that lane. They was perfect. She
Yo,
perfect.
she. There are people who
She
can
seemed
do a
genuine to
30
me.
minute.
She seemed like a genuine person, you know?
There are people who can't sit through a 30-minute interview and keep their composure. And look how many
Facts.
days of this confirmation
Facts.
hearing she got to go through.
Facts.
So they want
Yo.
those questions are designed to elicit those kind of responses to take you out of character and to get you upset. So
Yo,
got
you think so?
yeah, that's why them senators are asking them the questions because they want her to get riled
I
up to
could
be
be
like, look, you see, this is what we
the
put in the
angry black
Supreme
person.
Court.
Angry
Yeah.
black person, right?
But they wanted to see
Yo,
if she was like, fuck this shit. Fuck y'all.
yo, bro. Yo, I need to see that one good time, bro. I'll be happy with that shit, man. I need to see that one time, dog.
Yo, you know why you won't see it from a black person or Latino?
You're
Because
right.
it's almost like political suicide. And it
You're
feeds
right.
into the narrative that's been created. They're gonna be like, see, this is what you
See?
want to put in the Supreme Court. This is
But
what
Right.
you want to be a justice. This is a representation. So you got
but it's
it's trolling. They want to get her to get out of character and be like, this is a person that we're gonna have making decisions at the highest court in the land that's based on emotions. We asked a simple question. There are gonna be people arguing these things in front of her. It's just like that whole thing is a test of mental fortitude just to see if you could
that's
keep
true.
your composure and
Right.
stay together, you know.
Right. That's all
But
it
it's
is.
so
She handled it
but
with
it's so
grace under
crazy.
pressure.
The substitute to that was the chair. Yo, Senator Cruz. Yo, Chip, relax, bro. Like you out of character. Yo, you not letting her. You not even letting her talk. Like yo, your time is up, bro. Boom, 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 boom. Like that's
And
the
he tried
replacement
to
for the
throw
black
Senator Graham,
attitude.
and he threw Senator Graham under the bus. He's like, he went over his time 10 minutes. Can I get my
Snitching,
shot?
snitching. Like that's what they do, bro. Like throwing their own peoples under the like they was
Right.
arguing at war. It's crazy, man.
Yo, I'm gonna blow your mind with this. Did you know that in the Constitution, there's nowhere that it says that you need to be a judge or an attorney to be nominated to be a Supreme Court justice?
Wow. And that was one of the things that
Nah,
Lady Blackburn was. I didn't know that.
I ain't
And
know
that was
that.
one of the things that young Lady Blackburn was like, is the abortion in the Constitution? Talking about women's rights, that law was created in courts for women to have rights whether they should abort their baby or not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, that's not in the Constitution. So do you uphold that idea? Look,
Yo, bro, this is why we need young people. I'm an advocate now for young people in politics, heavy.
right.
Like because we talking old now. We talking old topics, man.
Yes,
Like
sir.
let these women choose. Let these women choose what's good for their bodies. Why are we still, well, white men still dictating this? Like
Well, you know why?
it's
Because yo,
That's
those conservative views are passed on from generation to generation. We
but
right.
just
there's
said, what's not Kavanaugh, the other woman. We just said like, yo, her
right.
conservative views probably come from her parents, who come from their great grandparents, and it's just lineage. Just those conservative views have gone on for years, and they just passed them
And
down.
and they live in expiration cities and states, bro. Like they states where they come from, it's so behind, bro. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
they still
getting it.
stuck. They still
Like
stuck, B.
you go to a modern university, you're around modern day kids, you get
Mm-hmm.
modern day education, but yo, you still live in a horse house. Like, bro,
Right.
like you gotta free your mind, man.
That's because
Open up, man.
being progressive mentally is much more complex than what people think it is. You know, like and
But you
also,
know,
yeah,
good.
I said, and
But
also, you think about it, like separating. We talking about asking people to separate from these values that they family hold near and dear. Like we're not far removed from people still having an issue with
facts,
interracial marriage. So,
you're
and
right.
you go south. You go south with it,
Yeah,
and their thought process around a lot of this stuff is like we look at it and we like, yo, are you crazy? Like this is not modern day society. But you go south, and these dudes are still going with this because these are their core values that they hold near and dear to
They
their
live
heart.
by.
That they yeah,
Yes,
that they
they live by.
trying to move off of. For them, it's like, oh, these city slickers or these fast talking liberals. You hear that terminology a lot. These
Lot.
liberals, the AOCs, the ultra progressives, and this that, and they throw this terminology out because they believe that these are the core foundations and principles of America. It hasn't been. They have to be willing to mentally evolve as people, and I don't think they've gotten to that point where they've evolved as people and been willing to change their thought process.
but they grandkids got iPhones. They even got iPhones. Like, bro, you stepping into a progressive future
Absolutely.
already. Like
Absolutely.
you gotta learn laptops and computers, dog. Like your office,
Right.
they communicate through emails. So you got to yo, dog. What are you doing? It ain't
Right.
so much It's not so much the political, like figureheads. It's they voters. They voters as well as like in a old school state of mind. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
They're
yo,
trying to they're
people
trying to
vote.
preserve that old way of living, man. That good old boy living.
Yeah, people, yo, people gonna go out and vote their interest. So if people are very much like, you know, to me, it's a no-brainer. Like, abortion should be the decision of the woman. But if people are anti-abortion, even if the politician is like, yo, I'm pro-choice, they know that their base from where they at as a whole, all their constituents are people that are anti-abortion. They're gonna be like, publicly, I'm anti-abortion, even if they believe something else privately.
Right. Because they want to vote.
It's,
Everything's about for the vote.
so yeah, so it's just to me, it's like that political theater and watching these confirmation hearings. It's sad, and I feel like not to throw everything off on Trump because I think that Trump is just a cog in that machine. But I think that even with Trump coming into office, it just polarized even more the whole thing around who's a liberal, who's a conservative, who's a Democrat, who's a Republican. It's super partisan now. it's just super partisan. And to go back to what I was saying earlier, also about like the representation, like when she does get in, I think it's gonna be good representation for young black women to be like, oh, okay, you know, our union tells
100%.
Supreme
100%.
Court,
Yeah, I agree with that.
you know, like so stuff like that is good to look at. Like you look at even Sonia Sotomayor getting on there, and Sonia Sotomayor, what she's done for, you know, how you call it, like
Spanish people.
Latinos. You go in the
Right.
Bronx, you look at the Bronx, I think like on is it sound like around the Soundview area? They got the Sotomayor Center, and you
And they
know,
just
Okay.
opened up another school. I think in
yeah,
Yonkers, they got another school opening up in her name.
yeah.
That's what's up.
And the fact, you know what I like about her too? The fact that her voice, she makes her voice known, and she has like
Right.
her presence is one where she hasn't compromised being a person of color to actually be in that seat. That's what I like about her.
Right.
Unlike
Right.
Clarence Thomas.
Ass pincher.
And it's
Unlike,
and it's starting to come out right now. He about to crash and burn. Like either he gonna have to step down, recuse himself, or
right.
get a divorce.
Yeah.
Or get a divorce. That just
And
tell you what
Yo,
that tell you what the four walls is like. They World War III in the crib.
yo, he not. You know why he not gonna step down? He not gonna step down
Power.
because they know if he step down, then Biden gonna run another liberal judge
Yeah.
right through for confirmation. So that dude,
Yo, if he step but
too many
if he
tricks, man.
do
Too many
step
tricks in games, yo. Too many fucking tricks in games.
it's a chess game.
yo,
It's a chess game.
let's switch gears. I don't know how much of this you guys have been following, but do you see the backlash that Mayor Adams in New York City is getting for making it now? He eased the mandates for entertainers and performers, but kept the mandates for regular common folks. So yo, here's my thing on it, like, and I want to kind of try to set like some sort of context discussion. I think where people kind of go awry with this is like this. To me, this is not a discussion around whether you pro-vax or anti-vax. To me,
Right.
it's a discussion more so around whether you are elite and privileged or non-privileged. And the reason why I say that is because I think if you got a policy, your policy should be just across the board.
Right. It should be universal.
And I'm disappointed because there are so many people who financially were not in
Yeah.
a place to lose their job as a result of this policy being in place. Whereas these entertainers and these sports figures or whatever it is, these dudes are well off and they could take the hit for missing the game for these particular games. But you mean to tell me it takes somebody to come in and lobby on behalf of entertainers to get the mayor to
Or
change
sports team.
policy on this? But you'll
Not
let your somebody from the city council came in. You'll let your frontline police officers, correction officers, which Rikers Island is already vastly understaffed, EMS,
Firefighters.
sanitation, all of the people who basically are the background, the backbone of running your city and keeping the infrastructure together. You'll let them lose their job? Like, yo, that to me is crazy. Like, I don't know
that's
how you justify this.
Because they're just the help. That's just the help. When you got teams like the Yankees responsible for almost $100 million coming into the city,
Mm-hmm.
that's who you're gonna lobby for. You think about the Yankees, the Mets, the Knicks, the Nets. That's just 4 teams. How much money comes in when these guys have packed houses? How many bars are open? How many other places are benefiting off of these teams playing? That's what it's all about, capital and money. But at the same time, firefighters have lost their jobs. Nurses have lost their jobs. It's about what? 1,400 people that refuse to get vaccinated. All of them are fired.
Yo, but you know something, Rob? You know what would have been a good case study for them to look at what the economic impact has been in downtown Brooklyn with Kyrie not playing. Because I don't think that the Nets have lost anything by
they
way
haven't.
of revenue with him not
They
playing.
haven't.
So if
I play.
Aaron Judge ain't playing and Jacob DeGrom, you mean to tell me people ain't gonna still go to the Yankees? The Mets, they still gonna go to them games. Half the
They
time
sell out.
show up. Half the time you show up to them games, and they be Aaron Judge won't be playing tonight. He got a sore hamstring. Jacob DeGrom,
Facts.
whatever it is. So I don't get the thought process around it. Like it just to me, I don't know, man.
Yo, and listen, man.
I,
Major League Baseball is the lowest vaccinated rate amongst all sports.
They ain't got to
But
worry
they
about
don't have
nobody watching
they
that.
don't have the camera. They don't have the cameras on them like they're not polarizing like an NBA like the NBA players.
Oh, for
They,
football, right?
yeah, those guys they make their money. They low key. They don't even cause mischief on the off season. So them
That's a
guys are
fact.
not gonna get them. Those guys ain't gonna get a flat screen on them. But I think with Mayor Adams, it's the Negro in them. That decision was the Negro part. The downtown Brooklyn Eric Adams that made that decision. You got to remember when he came in office, he had his lobbyists from NBA, like he had those athletes on that was supporting him.
Mm.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
That's
they
a
were
fact.
supporting him. So he got to pay it. It's like he got to pay it back
But
in a sense.
he first went to the private sector and told them, look, dropping the
Right,
mandate. You know what I
right.
mean? So that that was about capital and about money. And then he started to trickle it down to, the bars, the restaurants. And he went off of some of the things that happen in other states, like in California, they still require proof of vaccination if you want to eat inside.
Mm.
They ain't going for it. And you would think
But they
California being a coastal state that, there's some fresh air, there's a decent lifestyle out there. Let me tell you something, New York, America alone, but New York is one unhealthy city, B.
nah, but yo, to be honest,
Super
Rod,
unhealthy. Hmm.
nah, but to be honest, out of all the cities in the United States, because the way we
Hmm.
walk around so much, New
Yep.
York is a healthy city. Other
That
cities
part
got
I get.
supersized and they
I
got
get
all the
that
other
part.
crazy stuff. But look,
Hmm.
California lost a good percent, like 2% of the wealthy people moved to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because
they
because
moved to
because of the
Florida.
mandates. Because of the
Yeah,
mandates. Not having the
100%,
freedom, pardon me, to
100%.
do what they want to do. I understand it,
Yep.
man. You still got
Hmm.
Boston and Seattle who still require masks to be worn, every day.
Yo, Rob,
Um,
you know what's another crazy joint about this? So with them easing whatever the mandate and the restrictions are for entertainers, they didn't ease the mandates and the restrictions for the other employees. So if you a
not
dude working,
municipal workers. Yeah,
It's
yo,
crazy, yo.
if you work the concession stand, I think you still technically you mandated that you supposed to have the vaccine.
vaccination. That's
That's
right. That's
Crazy,
bogus.
bro.
That's how you know it's about money. Yo, this dude proposed an $85 million budget for the police department, and most of that money is going to the police department. It ain't going to sanitation. It ain't going to firefighters. It ain't going to. It's just the police. B.
well,
He's pro.
former police though.
But he's police.
Yeah,
He's police.
yeah, he's
You know what I
former
mean?
police. Yo, so
But this
let's
is gonna
just
be, but guys, you know, good.
yeah, see, got
This is gonna be a reason why the powers that be is not gonna put another black person in office.
Yes, it. That's it,
Because
bro.
he's not on an even kill. You can see where he favors, and
mm.
now he's gonna have to show himself to be an even hand for the next 3 years of his term.
I don't know if he got that. I don't know if he got that in him. Like I don't know enough about New York City politics at this point, but
Right.
everything that I've seen with him so far is he kind of gives me the feel of like a new politician, like somebody who's on the campaign trail, making all
Yeah.
these promises, getting to office, and realize like, yo,
It's
these are
hard.
more challenging decisions than what I thought.
It's hard.
You know, it's just
Facts.
a lot of scrutiny associated with these decisions, man. Like even right now, the backlash that he's getting with the broken windows policing stuff, like he won't say broken windows policing, but that's what it is. And for people that don't know what broken windows policing is, the theory behind it is that you want to clean up all those quality of life crimes because those quality of life crimes beget the larger crimes. So what's quality of
Right.
life crimes? People drinking in public, graffiti,
Social
Right.
misbehavior.
urination,
Right.
Yeah.
conduct,
Littering.
whatever. Now my thing with that is
Right.
like the optics of it. I get like like going around and making sure that neighborhoods look nice and everything. That part makes sense. But the other part of it is that when you start thinking about predominantly where these quality of life crimes occur, these are crimes in
Say
the
it.
hood.
Say it
Right.
again. Yo, when you read it, it says the broken window theory is a criminological theory that states the visible signs of crime, antisocial behavior, civil disorder that creates an urban environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll just stop
urban,
right there.
urban.
Urban environment, not rural, not upstate, urban. So you're
The
telling me
city.
all urban areas are just stereotyped because they're broken windows, but most of them broken windows are decimated hospitals, decimated schools. Why?
Because
Why does a hospital have to be?
they put no money into it.
So
Yo,
that's not
listen.
the fault. Is that the fault of the people that live in it? Fuck
No,
out of
but
here,
this,
son.
but this, you know what for the life of me, and I always had this conversation. I'm just trying to figure out why did Eric Adams, for example, like the crime that's going on in the urban community. These kids is
Right.
like 19 and under.
Hmm.
Why nobody is mentioned? Why nobody mentions parenting? Why?
We
We
talked about
Like
that
you
the
give it,
last time, Scott.
you're giving all the lenience to the police officers. Like you leaning on them, but they need help.
Mm-hmm.
They
Even with the
do.
broken window situation, like you need somebody got to be responsible for the people that's causing these issues. Like when do you say to yourself, all right, we need to go to the root of the problem. We need to like reinforce family structure. That can be
What?
done.
You know what?
Well,
You know
the
what?
mayor had implemented what they call, I guess, NCOs or YCOs, neighborhood, what do you call it? Neighborhood coordinator officers, who are there to you know, uh, stop the littering and stop the public drinking, but at the same time, try to protect the quality of life. He's putting 500 to 600 more officers to do just that.
What happens when they,
Go
but
ahead.
Rob, what happens when they get disrespected?
Right. So now the
Like what
power
we do,
trip comes out. Now the
right?
power
What?
tripper comes out because not everyone is going to say, hello, officer. Hi, it's good to see you on the corner today.
Well,
Thank you for protecting my neighborhood. It's not going to
well,
happen.
well,
And
I'm
no
gonna
one's talking about how are fucking guns getting into New York anyway.
tell you.
I know how, but most
Oh,
people
that's
don't know.
easy.
That theory, the whole thing around the NCO stuff is, I think, a nice way to kind of package. So what is probably going to be,
Right.
probably going to see far more people getting locked up for like these petty offenses. And this is another issue that I have with it. When you start arresting people for stuff like public urination, um,
Littering,
and litter,
jaywalking.
walking and stuff like that, like yo, it really ties up already a court system
But
that's
they said
already
that.
backlogged
That's
with
a
But
fact.
they, if you all right, so if you dismiss the marijuana cases and you making that legal, but when they was dismissing it, that was the driven reason because it was paper log. It
yeah,
was holding up the process. And if them idiots had any reference to the '90s and the late '80s when niggas was hopping the trains and it was just tickets on top of tickets on top of tickets, like Shinar, niggas is graffitiing. Like you get caught,
Yes,
you get a
sir.
fine, you go to
yeah.
jail. Like come on, like you are gonna clog the system up. So
They
is that an important crime?
they
That's
put
right.
they put jaywalking, they put hopping the train, and to me it's like,
Fan
yo,
invasion, yeah.
so you think that tagging up and pissing in the street is a precursor to eventually becoming somebody that commits a violent crime? I don't know.
Hey,
That's
weed
crazy.
is the gateway. Weed is the gateway to crack. You feel me? So weed is the gateway drug, bro. Like, come on, man. There's
Everything,
no
son.
parallel.
Meth,
Yo,
speed,
the
everything.
family piece, though, to speak to Corey's part, the family piece, I think the reason why there's not more emphasis placed on the family piece is because I think that they believe in in ACS, and I think that ACS is supposedly has a handle on those things. We had talked about this a couple of episodes ago. It would have been good to have you on to discuss it. And one of the things that I was saying is that I think that there's some parental responsibility, but some of the stuff I think that people just automatically kind of default sometimes to throw it off on a parent. Like, like
18,
there are
but you
people
know,
that are
18 and under,
people that
you're still responsible.
It's
no,
Your
still a
they are.
parents
minor,
still
technically.
responsible for that.
They are.
In the projects, you get kicked out if your kid really violate in the
That's
projects.
fine. But yo, so think of it this way. Think of it this way. Let's say a young lady is 16 years old, right? She's 16 years old. She's leaving out every day to go to school. She comes home pregnant. Is that the parent's fault?
Nah, because
So,
you got free
You
will.
make,
You got some
yeah.
free will. But
Mhm.
you would think the morals and the principles that's being taught in the household
mhm.
would actually be a conscience when they walk out the door. But
Well,
sometimes you can't really bank on that. So
and
I
that's
see where
yeah,
you leaning to.
Yeah, so here's the thing or whatever. Like, yo, we automatically when we see these things happen with these kids, we automatically go to, yo, what the hell are the parents teaching them and everything. You know, the parents
Right.
could be teaching them this. This could be a whole separate set of values that they have that's
Right.
different than the parents. Now, I do think that there should be some parental accountability. Like when you see kids
Right.
that haven't gone to school for months and months at a time, to me, that's
Right.
parents in question. Like, yo, where are you as a parent if your kid ain't been to school for 4 months
Right.
out of
And
school
you don't know, and you don't even know it.
or you don't ever know where your kid is and stuff like that. But I think that
Right.
there are parents that have done they've done a really good job as
Right.
parents. But then when the kid
Yes,
leaves
they
the house,
can.
there's peer pressure. There's other variables in place that cause these kids to make poor decisions. Janelle said they can't throw it on the teachers. That's true too. Like, yo, they throw a lot of responsibility on teachers, where teachers
Yeah.
not only just teaching, now teachers got to be social workers also to deal with some of this stuff. Like, yo, it's a lot going on, and I think that in order for them to actually tackle it, to get to the root of the issue, I think that they really need to confront what the real crime is. To me, to use your resources, chasing down people, hopping the train, pissing them off,
Littering.
tagging up or littering, you know, like
It's crazy.
I don't see it as value. But you know, one thing I will concede though, that and probably all three of us we need to think about. None of us live in a neighborhood that has any of those things going on. You know, at some point in time we
Not
did
anymore.
but and what was going on, but we
And
don't
I ain't
live in a
going back.
neighborhood. Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So when
I
you
drove I drove through the Bronx today. I was like, thank God I ain't in this shit.
so think about it.
But
Not for us to be removed from it and to not see
I
the
had
value in it, for us to be removed and not see the value in it, and to say something like, okay, you know, like they don't need to focus on this. There are people that are in those circumstances that's like, yo, we need somebody ASAP to step in and come in here and physically clean up the neighborhood, because I do think that aesthetics do play, you know, it plays a factor. It is a factor, but I don't know if that should be the sole focus of the
right.
community to say, like, you know, for everything that they got going on with all the violence, you telling me that, yep, the top of your list for a crime is jaywalking and public urination and public intoxication?
That's misleading because
You know what it is?
they think it's starting from there.
Mm-hmm.
They think that that's the culprit that leads to someone to pick up a knife, pick up a gun. No, it ain't. A lot of these kids don't even know how to deal with conflict resolution. They don't
I
know how to talk. They don't know how to express themselves. So the moment someone says something to them, they pulling out. Nobody even fights no more. Like, dude, just have a fight. Go to the schoolyard and shoot the five. If you don't like somebody, I ain't promoting it. But look, the both of y'all walk away out of that schoolyard alive. You know what I'm saying? Stop with this craziness that because I do. Let me tell you something. That littering in New York is learned behavior. You watch somebody else throw some shit on the floor, you gonna do it too. You ain't
mm-hmm.
gonna stop that. That's never gonna stop. I don't
Monkey
give a
see,
fuck.
monkey do.
Exactly. That's not gonna stop.
Imagine taking that trip to Rikers Island and somebody, yo, what you locked up for? Yo, it's my third time getting caught
I
littering.
was drinking a soda and I threw it. I just missed the garbage and I threw it
But
on the
yo, hold
floor.
up. But listen, that's a money grab.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what
Because
I'm
exactly.
about.
either you find them, or they gonna hit you with the taxpayer dollars. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Oversaturation, overtime for the officers, overcrowdedness. It's a trickle down effect.
I
Yo,
just
Miss
think that
Janelle, hey, Miss Janelle, add on. I know you got something you want to say. Go
Let
ahead.
me tell y'all something. Y'all know y'all had me in because I'm in my self-care room. I'm like, if the chairs but so small, I'm like, they gotta act, and I'm stomping and hit like, yes, yes. Let me tell you something. First of all, parenting starts from home.
That's a
And
fact.
most definitely, I'm from the South Bronx. I had one parent on drugs. I get all that. But it
mm-hmm.
starts from home. So when I moved upstate where I live at now, I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop this way of parenting the way my mother taught me. I didn't stop everything because
Right.
some values and stuff. Listen,
Yeah, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
this is color, okay? But I'm gonna say this. What I did do as a parent that my mother didn't do, because we were left with so much responsibility, go to school. I know my mother, she went to work 3 to 11. She didn't really have time to communicate with the school and stuff because that would require her to either walk in or call because we didn't have technology.
Mhm.
So
Right.
when I became a parent 17 years ago, what I did was I emailed every single teacher. My name is Janelle. I am Ruben's mother. I don't do I've been meaning to talk to you, because because every teacher say I've been meaning to talk to you. I'm going to say to them, did did your fingers break, or
Why
all
you
these
ain't call? Right.
things? Like, what do you
That's
mean
right.
that you've been meaning to talk to me?
That's a fact.
So as a parent, you have to do the work. You cannot expect a teacher to do the work who is teaching 30 students. For me, I
Right.
had one child. So I did the work. So that way, when I got to go beat her up, not beat her up, but verbally speak with her,
Right.
I can say, I emailed you on the first day of school. I told you, my do's and don'ts. I set the boundaries with you. You don't tell me you've been meaning to call me. You call me day, night, middle of the night. You call me. It's my child. It's my responsibility.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So the teachers have some sort of responsibility, but they don't have all the
All the
responsibility.
responsibility.
Also,
Right.
we have to understand that these teachers are not social workers, just like Shannon said. They don't take many mental health classes. They may take a psych class, and I think everybody got to take that, in the core credits. But after that, they're learning how to teach. And us social workers are learning the study of the brain and why do we behave the way they do. Teachers
Talk
don't
about that.
have that
Mhm.
knowledge, huh?
Yeah.
Talk
Yo,
about
you know
that.
what
The
I'm
But
brain.
but
talking about?
Janelle,
People
look,
don't know.
So
People miss the point about neural intelligence, man. What you put in your head.
yes, why do we do
That's what I think that's where the parenting comes. When you're
that?
guiding a child who will have their own mind, what are you allowing them to ingest? Because ingested ain't just
right.
food, water.
Now your child is
You
gonna
responsible for that.
your child
Exactly, son.
test you. My son's father, we're best friends, but we don't live in the same household. So my son
Hmm.
thought he was 15, right? So he thought he could bark at his mother. Now, boy, you raised in Maybrook. You know nothing about barking at a mother. And I'm old
Yeah.
school. So what I did was I taught him a lesson. I didn't abuse him, but all he could say was, Mommy, you fought me like a man in the street. I said, well, you jumped up at me like a man in the street.
Decked him right in his chest. Pow!
Fought him right in that throat because he's 6'4". I got to break you down. You're
That's
6'4".
it.
I'm chopping you.
Let me.
He wasn't prepared for that. And I said, first of all, you're light on your feet, because one thing you don't learn in this suburban area is how to be heavy on your feet. You got to be strong on them feet or you're going to be knocked out, boy. So he's very light. But I say this to
See?
say that,
That's a mother teaching her son how to hold himself down, son.
but ask me what that did for my son. One, it taught him
Right,
I'm not the one. Try another one, but not me.
right. That's
Two,
right.
it taught him how to maintain respect, because all of his flashbacks is when I jumped at my mother, I saw Jesus.
That flash, that white light.
Like I did the praise dance. I started speaking in tongues because he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, don't do that. But it starts from in the home, and that is my thing. We cannot hold the police accountable. We cannot hold the teachers accountable. We
There you
have to
go.
hold what happens in your household. If you see violence in your household, you're going to be violent.
Let me
Period.
ask.
That's
Let
right.
me.
Let
Or
him
it's
behavior.
A question.
environment.
Let
It's
me
being
ask you a
a
question.
product of our environment.
Let me ask you a question. Since because again, this broken Windows policing theory goes back to that if you live in an area where there is graffiti, littering, jaywalking, public urination, public drinking, and stuff like that, then it begets more crime, right? So for all of us, we're removed from the Bronx. We all
In
live
the
in.
Bronx.
Do you think that the reason why in your area there's probably a lower crime rate than there is currently in the Bronx is a result of because you don't have those things? Is there a
Nah, I
direct
think it's
correlation?
the
I think we have
nah.
them,
If
but it's
Go ahead,
community.
go
if
ahead,
It's
go to Corey first and then go to Janelle. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah.
if I'm looking at the two scenarios, I'm looking at responsibility for your community in the
Exactly.
suburbs,
Yeah.
in ownership. So you're gonna take more care of the
Which
shit you live in because
That's
you
right.
own it,
That's right.
and that's a taught behavior because you can get that through experience, or you was taught that in your house. You know
Hmm.
what
That's
I'm saying?
right.
It comes from even if you had a pair of fresh sneakers, you take care of what you purchase.
Hmm.
But in the hood, everything is disposable, right? They
Everything.
rent they renting, and then it's like a pot of gumbo. You got it's uneven. You got some people middle class that don't want to move, and then you got some poverty. And the ones that's in between, I guess they living reckless and they don't care about their community.
Right.
They just don't. It's just a fundamental thing. That's how I look at it. Like they just don't care
Hmm.
about their community.
Yeah.
And
It's learned behavior. Just like I talked about the littering. You see someone throw some shit on the floor, you gonna do it too. Because it looks acceptable. Ain't nobody say nothing to him. He threw that whole garbage, he threw all that. Ain't nobody say nothing. You know what? Throw mines out too. You know
listen,
what I'm
I'm for
saying?
gentrification. I'm for gentrification because
it,
it
clean, it,
throws the
clean, it
community
cleans shit
off.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, because when me and Shannon was coming up, you had a sprinkle of white folks.
Hmm.
I had a white person on my block. You had missionaries walking. You had
Hmm.
I think you had some nuns walking. You had
mm-hmm.
That's a
certain
fact.
people. Oh, and you had old grandmothers that were literally picking stuff up off the street,
Yeah.
like they were
That's a
cleaning the
fact.
street up.
Yeah.
That's a
So
fact.
the
Yeah,
community, man.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Janelle,
Yeah, no.
what's your
I'm
thoughts
thinking
around
where I live now is community policing. My police live in the complex. And where I live at, all New York City police live here. So my doors is
it?
open,
Hmm.
my wallet is in my car. I never lock my door. Never up here because if you're gonna come to Maybrook, you better have a lot of guns because there's too many guns in this complex. You're not gonna make it
Right.
out. But the community policing works. The kids grew up with the police officers here. So, like my son, he's always known the police officer. My son went to school with the kid that runs our Chinese food restaurant, right? So they
How
all
about
grew
that?
up together. It's a little different here than in the South Bronx. On one side
Absolutely.
in Boston Road, the police wouldn't even come down the block. They were scared. They not they like kill each other. Y'all just go down and kill each other because they were scared. They didn't want to act, want to interact with us because they labeled us as hoodlums. We gonna kill
That's
each
right.
other. We gonna do the drugs. And what was it? The task force. What was the name of them?
TNT.
TNT?
TNT. That was the only time
Facts.
we saw police really like throwing people on the floor and stuff was then. But we don't have that. TNT ain't no task force up here.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I agree with
And Mayor
Corey.
Adams is putting them back on the street too.
Yeah, I agree with Corey was saying though. Like, I think the difference is not. To me, it doesn't have anything to do with like those quality of life crimes up here. I don't think it's the.
No.
And I think it's the ownership piece, the feeling like I'm invested in my community, and it becomes a norm. It's a norm in my community that if you got to use the bathroom, you go inside your house.
Go inside your house, huh?
Yeah, you don't use the bathroom on your lawn and stuff like. So I don't know if there's a direct correlation around crime as a result of it, and that makes me kind of go back to thinking about like the piece around like why is there going to be this investment in this broken windows policing when maybe the investment should really be in actually trying to figure out how do we get people to have more ownership of their community. Like and again, I'm pro beautification. Like I
Yeah,
do think that there are places in the Bronx, in particular the Brooklyn and stuff like that, it makes sense for them to figure out how do we clean this area up. I just don't know if by cleaning that area up, it's going to change the fact that people are committing crimes. I'm not, and I also go back to, I think a lot of this kind of gets me worried about like stop and frisk coming back into play. And there's some people that are proponents. They're fans of stop and frisk because they believe that, stop and frisk is going to get people off the street. The only issue I have with it is though, to me, stop and frisk is just like kind of like throwing a real wide net
yeah,
out there and hoping that, okay, I threw a net out there and I'm gonna get some people back. The thing that's concerning and scary about it to me though is that how many people get caught up in that net and harassed as a result of it.
Right.
And maybe New York is at a point now where they feel like their problem as it relates to violence is so big that they do need to institute something like that. Corey, I seen you saying you agree with it. You want to add anything?
Yeah, I agree with it. Cause I was out there when that actually was going down, and the kids that I do know that was holding on the streets, they would not hold because they were scared of a cop jumping out on them. It's just a common sense thing to do, right? I'm not going to that's suicide. I'm going to jail. I'm going to put myself in jail, right? But I think the generation has changed. Like a lot of officers from that era, they retired, and there's a whole bunch of little boys now this on the police force. So I don't even think they understand the racial component for stop and frisk.
Right.
Them guys,
Right.
they lazy anyway. I don't know if y'all ride the train, but they be grouped up. They don't really do no work. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? But to have the presence in the community will stop the crime, period. You don't really
That's a
need
fact.
stop and frisk. Just put 20 officers on the beat. It's
But
going to
the
slow it
beat,
down.
son. That's
Give
why
them
I
a
said,
nice, give them
where's
a
the
nice
beat
stick.
walkers?
Bring the nice stick back.
Where's the beat walkers? Where did they just vanish to? Because when I grew up, there was always a beat walker, which deterred
Facts.
niggas from even standing on the corner. You went the other way, drinking, loitering, all of that. If you seen him, oh, here he come. Let me go up the block. And he'll tell you, just go up the block. I know how some police officers came to seen us on the corner. Yo, listen, go up the block.
Yeah.
Not right
Wait,
here.
hold on.
Not in front of not in front of the store, not in front of mommy's store, not in front of the post office. Just walk up the block, do what you do. I ain't gotta see it. Just move from here. I
Yo,
had some that would jump out and be in your pockets. I'm like, what are you doing? You all in my pockets? And that's what I'm afraid of with this, that zero tolerance mentality. Moment you open your mouth, now it's probable cause. Oh, let me see, you're a criminal. You got a hat turned backward. You look just all that stereotypical shit, man. I can't stand that, B.
Yo, so here's the thing though, like the first of all, if I was a police officer, I wouldn't want to be in Brooklyn, Bronx, or the Queens with just a nightstick. The way these dudes is out here with these weapons out here, you setting them up to get slaughtered.
I need a laser or some shit.
Yeah, you that
Yeah, the young ones don't care.
Oh, yeah, they have no sense of caring for any of us. They don't respect. The respect went away. You know how we be like, who is it
Facts.
across the street? Miss Alice. Miss Alice,
Facts.
everybody business, but Miss Alice would be checking kids. You know your baby was out here acting up. You know
That's
your
right.
baby person. Miss Alice told everybody. So we
You call her, what they call her, Bonita Patrol?
yeah, we had a village. Now
Yo,
everybody mind their business because you can't talk to nobody kid. You can't.
Right.
But
so one
Janelle, you're hitting it.
just said where the elders at to check the young kids, and yeah, that's a great point. But you know why the elders ain't checking the young kids? For two reasons: one, for fear, and two, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like as elders, we failed a lot of these young kids. What you was gonna say, Corey?
You think so, Shannon? Nah,
we failed?
yo, to Janelle point. Yeah, you know what? It's two things. To Janelle point, she's 100% right. That go back to the household. Like if you don't respect the officer, and so what we were saying, Shannon, I mean, the officers, 42nd precinct would come to the school. Yeah. We knew that he was an officer, and we were scared to death, right? The fear was there. The fear was there.
Right.
Some of us that had fathers in the household, the fear was with the father, right?
Right.
So or their mother. Either way. But I think the elder people died off. They kids decided not to raise their kid a certain type of way, like how they was raised, and they went against the grain. They went against the grain, and the
being
kids
friends
out
with
here,
their kids.
right? And a lot of freedom was, allowing these girls or these guys to have kids at a very early age without any education. Period.
I agree.
And they not understand.
No, we the elders. We failed.
We're the elders now. Let me tell you something. When I get in a little,
these kids don't listen.
Elders. It's true.
The kids are born stupid. Some of these kids are born stupid. They don't listen. They don't listen. That's why I don't coach.
These young ones today are tough to get through. They're tough to get through, but there's always 100%. A breaking point.
Yes,
there's always a breaking point, though. You can always get to them. When you get to them on a one-on-one and you look them square in the eye and they can feel that dominance over you, they cower. They ain't got that bravado when they around their friends and they gassed up. Yo, son, whatever. You catch them on a one-on-one like, yo, what up?
Yo, but can I say something,
Oh
Rob?
shit, OG, I didn't know you talk like that. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
can I say something though? Like,
Yeah.
like even from what you saying, like you catch him on the one to one, and you be like, "Yo, what up?" Like to go back to what Corey was saying when we was talking about like the politicians, and we was like, "Yo, they still got these old antiquated methods." The methods that we are trying to use are the methods that work with us, where OGs and elders pulled up on us and was like, "Yo, get out of here! What you doing out here? This, that, or whatever." We talking about
Yeah.
new age kids. We need new age practice, and if we still coming at
It's
them,
more than, it's
meeting
more than one way to
aggression,
skin a cat, B. You
yeah,
right.
we meeting aggression with aggression. Nothing good is gonna come from it. And you got to think about it. Like when we were younger, we had some discernment. You looked at authority
We
and was like, "Yo,
respected authority, yes, sir.
this is
Respected.
authority or whatever." Now it's yo, this old cat running up on me or whatever. How you call it like that? We have to think about a way to be more strategic and actually, bringing them along and enlisting them. And I think a lot of the conversations that we have with kids and even by like the terminology elders, we're coming from a place of hierarchy, and they're not responding to hierarchy, and they're definitely not responding to how you call it, to authority. If they ain't scared of the police and you just a
They ain't gonna be
random
scared of
OG
you.
out on the street, they looking
Yeah,
at
they ain't gonna be
older
scared of
people like
you.
But
they
yo,
They
looking,
not.
yeah, they're looking
this
at
is
you
They
older,
not.
you
But
washed.
I like what Kenyatta said, man, because I was a coach and I was a coach in Maryland. And I had some 10-year-olds that knew how to get around Maryland or through around Baltimore like an adult, and their mouths was filthy. But when they came to the court and they come to practice, that was the time to instill respect and morals. Listen, you gonna come in this gym and you gonna respect this gym if you want to play ball. I give you the world, but you ain't gonna talk back to me. You're not gonna sit here and disrupt my practice, and or you can leave. And a lot of them is like, yo, I don't want to go back out there. All right, Mr. Rob, I'll pay attention, just like that. And we
Yo,
used to
there
tell
was
the
a cap.
parents. We
There
used
was
to
a
tell the
cap.
parents too back then as well. Listen, I had a practice with these kids. They was like 9, 10 years old. So I just wanted to see how athletic they was. I said, yo, give me 3 laps. These kids couldn't even do one. I stopped practice immediately. And I told the parent, I said, you see that? You bringing your kids here. You're paying money to bring your kids here. Some of you want your child to be Carmelo Anthony and Iverson. He can't even run a lap. I said, you know what you do when you go home? Turn off them damn TVs. Turn off that video game and get them acclimated to just adjusting to a process. That's it. A process. If you want to learn something, there's got to be process orientated. If that's
but
not going to happen, you might as well keep your money and don't bring your kid here because we learn things by a process here. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yo,
yo,
And
Rob,
there's
you
motivation.
never
Shinar.
kids want structure. They want
But
it.
there was
We just gotta give it to them.
Right.
there's external motivation there, and there's a relationship, and there's something implied that they're gonna get as a result of it. So that's why you can reach kids and you can reach youth through mentorship
Sports.
programs and
Right.
sports and stuff like that. If you could get a kid into a mentorship program, 50% of the battle is done because the kid actually wants a
Right.
mentor.
He
So
took the
now it's
initiative.
the other
He took
person.
the initiative. Right. I agree.
Talking about impromptu, how do we, how from an impromptu, us just walking up to somebody, how do we, get a kid to buy into what it is that we're saying? And I'm saying, like, yo, we're the elders, we're the role models. And if they see us doing a whole bunch of goofy stuff, if they see
Right.
us,
Learn behavior. Right. Right.
if
I
they see
got
us
you.
disrespecting our women, or if they see us, how you call it, selling drugs or whatever it is, like, yo, we providing the optics for them about this is the way that life goes. So they
Learn
looking at
behavior,
us
baby.
now. They're looking at us now, and they like, if you pulling up on them, and you telling, yo, get out of here, this, that, or whatever, they're looking at, yo, you washed. You know how you call it. There's no more respect for being an older person. Like it's bugged though, because in our day and age, growing old was a blessing. To grow old is a beautiful
You know,
thing. But
I
they
agree.
looking at it like, yo, you
I
washed.
agree.
Ain't nothing to tell me.
I agree. I agree with you, Shadon. You know why I agree with you? Because the only caveat to that is you have to be. When we was coming up, we had a center,
Yeah, the
so we
community
had
center. Right.
that's one, right? You had a community center,
Hmm?
so you had 8 hours in
Oh,
school, maybe 3.5 hours in the community center. And then when you left the community center, you had another few hours to get all the reinforcement back. And
hmm.
I think to what you said earlier, us living out here is a problem, but then again, it's what we wanted because where we came from. But if the community was the way it is, we would have to live back in the community to make a crazy direct impact because the kids got to see us every day.
Every
For
day.
me,
That's a fact.
for me, I don't want no young ones. I got two 25, 26-year-olds. I catch them out of high school because I ain't got the patience because I understand that the young ones, their household is so screwed up. If I see them for 3 hours, they got a whole 10 or 11 hours in that household. They got to see
Right.
me every day.
Right. That's right.
Right? So I agree with what you're saying, Shannon. Like that's real, man. They gotta respect the OGs, but we gotta show them.
You got to show them. You got to lead by example, man. And you can't be afraid to approach them. Like I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can't approach them like you are the authoritative or the
Right,
authority. Approach them like you're a peer. You know,
right,
comment them on their sneakers. Give them a comment. Yo, them sneakers is hot, shorty. Where you get
right,
them from? And that might turn into, yo, what you doing out here? Or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And if he opens up, once when a kid opens up, that's
you
when
got
you
them.
insert. That's when you can insert. Yo, I got an idea. How about this? X, Y, and Z. If you went over here,
Right,
my man Shanana get you a job. He know a dude that got a barber shop. If you in the barber, you want a barber?
right,
I get you in right now, son. And they start to
right,
see that,
right,
they hear that, they weigh and balance what I'm doing on the street, or yo, this older dude told me he can help me out. Boom, boom, boom. It will work. I've seen it work.
Yeah.
But we have to be consistent at it, and you have to be present, like Corey said.
Yeah, and
We
you got
do.
to also show people that there's potential that they could be something. Like there are a lot of people that don't think that they'll ever be anything based on their circumstances and based on where they come from.
Where they
But
live. That's right.
again, like, to go back to this broken windows policing theory, like I feel like there's so much going
I hate the sound of that. I
on.
hate the sound of that broken
And
window
It's
theory.
in
stupid. It's
cities,
stupid.
there's so much going on in inner cities that I just think that to focus the police manpower on things again. I want to reiterate, we talking about jaywalking, public urination, public drinking, graffiti, turnstile hopping, and things like that. I'm not saying that these are things that we need to turn a blind eye to, but I just think that this is like almost. It kind of reminds me of The Wire. I don't know how much of The Wire y'all follow, but in The Wire, when Bunny took and moved all the crime into one area, and they was looking like, damn, why is all the crime down, or whatever. And the other part of The Wire is too, like when elections come around, they start fixing up the community and trying to give optics that things are looking better. I think that the things that's going on in inner city communities that is so many ills that just by slapping a fresh coat of paint over it is just masking what the real
That's
situation.
all it is. That's a
That's all.
fact.
They
That's a
looking
fact.
for
It's
somebody
cosmetic.
to arrest. But listen, I'd rather you piss all over the Bronx and then we get the guns off the street, okay?
But how do you? But listen, how do you?
We grew up
In
with
one,
graffiti.
yeah, but listen, but in one sentence you want to close Rikers Island, and in another sentence you want to
Fill it
enforce
up.
people to get
Right
locked
there.
up.
They want to fill it
That's
up.
not a good look for two
Be-
black people ahead of a department. One is the mayor and one is the police. Like you can't. That's common sense.
Well, that's a big business within itself. I don't care what they say. They talk
Absolutely.
about they talk about
Absolutely.
prisons and jails are owned by
But
people, not by cops, not by the city. They individually own. So
yeah,
Private
that's
institutions.
money. We just use their building to house our criminals.
right,
So
right.
when you look at it like that, you got to say that business still has to bloom. What we could do on the lower end, because I always tell people, you cannot write Joe Biden. Start low. Start
Right,
within
right.
your community. Because Joe Biden
Local.
ain't answering none of our letters. He not. He ain't got time for
Right.
it. So you start
Right.
very low. That's like if you could grab up a kid. Hey, like when my son turned 17, he really was going into the man world. His father's active, but his father's not here. So what I
Right.
did was I reached out to, well, y'all know I'm a therapist, so A, therapist. B, I was talking to my girlfriend's boyfriend, and he said, "Yo, Janelle, I'll snatch little boy up because Ruben has this fantasy where he want to go see what's about Newburgh and Poughkeepsie." And I'm like, "Boy, you
Ain't
don't
nothing.
want that smoke.
You
You
don't want to
don't
go in
want
a
that.
new.
You don't want." But he wants the
That's not a
smoke,
field. That's not a field trip you want to take.
and I'm like,
Tell them
"No, you
fentanyl.
cannot."
Say
I'm like,
fentanyl.
"No, you can't handle yourself, and then you want to go there with a Gucci bag. They gonna steal it." But what I told him
It's set
was,
up.
I reached out to my friend's boyfriend. He said, Janelle, I'll take him under my wing. I'll grab him up. I'm going to take him to show him that that's not what you want.
Right.
And
Step up.
he took my son out one time. And I could be honest, my son is not asking to go to Newburgh and Poughkeepsie.
See that?
Because he may have not needed to hear it from me. And ladies, I'm a woman, and I strongly don't believe I can raise a man. I'm sorry, but I cannot raise a man because I'm not.
All you can do is your best, man.
Yeah, and I'm a mother. I'm a mother. So I know
That's
my
right.
role. He has a father. And
Right.
for those that don't have a father, we got to grab up mentors. And my best friend, her name is Janelle too. She wrote in here that we need more males in the school. The schools are dominated with
Yeah, by females.
women.
And I agree with you.
It's
I got a school
it's
contract.
yeah. How many men are in schools? How many men are in minority schools? How many minority men are in minority schools where they could say, yo, shorty, I know it. I understand it. I understand it. I've been down that road. If a kid say to someone, my mother's a crackhead, and that someone he's talking to is not relatable, you're not going to get much out of a kid. But if a kid tell one of us, yo, my dad is a crackhead, I could be like, I get it. And it's hard hiding your stuff. It's
Right.
hard
They're
sleeping at
relatable.
night.
You're
And they
relating to
walking
them.
around looking for shit to rob and stuff. So guess what? That kid is going to gravitate to me because I'm talking their language. They have
That's
a
a fact.
language. Any trauma has a language. If you could speak that language, you could grab them up. But even if you be honest with a kid and say, hey, I never lived the way you are living, teach me. That's how I coach my clients and my clients on my 9 to 5 too. I don't know what that feels like, but if you teach me, I could get a better understanding. Oh, you
Right.
want to learn? Of course, I don't know. If you don't know something, you got to
You
ask.
ask a question.
So we
Right.
cannot go in every field as the expert when we're not an expert at their situation.
That's a fact.
I don't know if you all read an article that came out recently. There was an article that came out where they were talking about how I think they said that there are so many backlog cases in New York City that prosecutors have quit at an alarming rate. So how does this kind of work hand in hand with if now we're going to be doing these prosecuting people for these quality of life infractions? I'm hoping that the city has thought this through and maybe it's desk appearance tickets or something like that, because I don't see how you could say that you want to, like Corey said, how can you say that, you know what, we want to try to reduce the population in Rikers Island and close Rikers Island, but then now we're going to enforce these crimes. Like, and again, I want to reiterate my opinion around this is that, yeah, a crime is a crime. And you
But is
should
it worthy?
be reprimanded if they're
Yeah,
breaking the law. They
absolutely.
Is it worthy?
but again, like, is this the place really that you want to focus your resources on? Like, you know, and where's the study that says that arresting people for these quality of life tickets helps to
Go
reduce
clean up go clean up crime.
the violence,
Yeah.
Yo, hold.
violent crimes? And then the other part of it again is, again, I go back to, like, to me, I think that whenever we have any kind of problem that gets out of control, we automatically, rather than think, you know, on a small level and try to really dissect it and figure out everything, we automatically think like we need instant fix. So instant fix is, all right, so we gonna run out and we're gonna do all these things. And the reason why they probably gonna do all these things also is because these are tangible things. We could walk through a neighborhood and we can see like, wow, look at the beautification. You know, we could walk through a neighborhood and say like, wow, there was a whole bunch of homeless people once sleeping here. They swept all the homeless people up and cleaned up. But I don't know if there's a way for them to actually do a quantitative study to be able to determine that, okay, so as a result of doing this, we got rid of the violent offense.
That's not gonna happen, man.
Rob, but listen, it's a solution. And I'm gonna ask all four of y'all, just honestly, because we're able to see it better because we don't live in the city.
You're not in it, exactly.
When is the last time you seen community service? I'm talking about
Boy, right. Right.
now. Now I'm talking about a solution, right? Now, if you got backlogs, yeah, I understand that. If you wanna arrest these, if this is what you want to do, Mayor Adams, if you want to arrest graffiti, you want to arrest alcoholism, peeing, however you want to call it, don't send them to
Literally,
jail.
yeah.
Don't send them to don't send them to jail. I know plenty of kids when we was growing up, community service. What? I gotta go out there and clean up? Nah, I'm not doing that no more. The
And we
crime,
gotta wear that. You gotta wear that vest.
yo, yeah, let them wear a chicken suit or something, and let them feel it, because it ain't nothing more embarrassing than your peers seeing you
Right.
get violated, right? And
That's a
and
fact.
the other issue is, yo, you got to get the community don't know how to vote their judges. Get them old judges out of the courthouse, and we be all right.
That's a good point,
Nah,
Cole. That's a good
I
point.
think
nah,
that's
cause
a good. I love that. Let them
the
go
That's a
judges
good
clean
is.
up
point.
the PJs, them pissy elevators.
Yo,
When the
yo,
last you seen Eat War projects? It's still garbage on the sidewalk, bro. Like
yo,
New York
Corey.
City housing is horrible, bro.
Yo, Corey, you
They
got
gotta gut that
a lot of
system out.
a lot of heat for if Corey was running the judicial system, everybody that'd be an age limit that you could be. Corey not playing it. He like, yo, once you get to a certain
Get the
age, you gotta touch.
go
20
work in the
years.
center.
20 years
Go work
max, yo.
go work in the center with your khakis. Take your khakis and go work in the center.
Listen,
Go work in the
Uh,
center, youth
Yeah,
center.
I'm with that opposed to giving them a record and putting them in jail. Let's
right.
give the youth an opportunity. By putting them out. Well, you pissed on this sidewalk. Now you're gonna clean this sidewalk.
Now you're gonna wash the sidewalk. Now you're gonna steam. You're gonna blow wash it with the
Yeah,
water wash.
I'm
Take
with
all the
that.
gum
I'm
off the tree.
sorry. I don't think jail is the answer, because if jail was the answer, then where's the rehabilitation, right?
so
Where's the results?
look,
Right.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. We shifted this conversation to talk about youth, but he's not talking about prosecuting youth. He's talking about prosecuting adults that do this stuff. Meaning that if you catch an adult out in the community, public intoxication, an adult doing graffiti, an adult hopping a turnstile, an adult jaywalking, you know, these are adults with disorderly conduct. These are the things that he's talking about in terms of preventing this rash outbreak of violence. This is
Yo,
not kids. We just all automatically
Like went to
youth
kids,
because we
listen,
believe that youth
but
is
even adults,
Aren't the
it
adults,
kids?
make
works.
them clean up. Make them clean
Aren't the
up, because
young
they probably
people?
got roaches in their house. Make them go out there and clean
No,
up what they messed up.
yo,
Okay?
hold on, yo, real quick, Rob. I didn't mean to cut you off on this,
That's all
but yeah, I
right.
ain't gonna say no names because I don't know who watching this. But Chanel, we know, and I know we know, 3 people that were crackheads from our community.
Wait, he from where
Went to
we from? He
he
where
from
we
where
from?
we from. Yo, they went in and out of jail, and they retired MTA. You know what happened? They went to jail. They went in a rehabilitation program. They got a job with MTA. I
Right.
moved back from Atlanta. I was on a train one day and seen 2 crackheads that I personally know in an MTA uniform. In an MTA uniform.
They cleaned up, man.
Nah,
They cleaned
I'm
up.
serious.
That moral
And this is when,
compass kicked in.
but this is when Bloomberg was in office. He had the know-how to say, look, we're not gonna put these problematic people in jail. We're just gonna get them something to do.
Dude.
Clean the
Get them something to
subways.
do. Right.
Right.
Yo,
Get
well,
them something to do.
here's where I think Adams is kind of going back in the direction of with
Giuliani.
Yeah, because Giuliani was very much big on beautification and cleaning up and everything. When you clean up, it gives the optics that everything is all right. And what they used to have also is, I think, for public assistance, didn't they used to ask people to work to get their public assistance? My
Yes, sir.
only issue with that was that if you was giving somebody less money on public assistance than what they could have actually got working for MTA, cleaning the MTA, you could have got the people off of public assistance if you'd have gave them the MTA job. That's
Right.
only my only issue.
That's
with that.
my gripe too.
You know, but again, like I think we got to think about this. Like, we're really saying, or he's really saying, his position is that if they address this stuff, and I get the other part of it that I get is that you think about it. If you're the mayor, you're probably getting all of these complaints about all these low level crimes that exist in people's neighborhoods, like noise ordinance being violated, or
Noise pollution.
drunk, for
Yeah,
getting
10
high
o'clock is our
or
cutoff
whatever.
time.
And in his role, he can't necessarily turn a blind eye to it. I just don't know if I was the mayor, I don't know if it would be my priority. And I think he got backlash. Remember, because didn't his district attorney say something like we're gonna stop prosecuting low level offenses?
Low level offenders, yeah.
Got a lot of
For all the
backlash
deep,
around it. So
uh,
he's just back and forth with a whole bunch of contradictions because first that was their position, like we're not gonna be prosecuting these low level how you call offenses, and now it's like, yo, we catch
That's why I think,
hurricane.
honestly, I think this broken windows thing is a smokescreen for
yeah,
zero tolerance.
yeah.
They want to bring back zero tolerance to put some sort of fear into the streets where people, like you said, you put some beat walkers out there and you start strong arming a couple of people. It's gonna be crazy out here in a minute,
Nah,
son.
I'm no Rob. Nah,
yo,
Rob. I'm for no Rob. Listen, I'm for that. Me personally, I'm for that.
yo, want a
Every
civil
time you
war.
turn, nah. But listen, every time. But hold up. Every time,
I get you, Cole.
every
I get you.
every time. But
But
listen, the reason why I say that is because the number of crime that's been going on, it
right,
kind of it ushers that in. You need to slow that down a little bit. Like you starting to see 15-year
right.
olds,
I
16-year
got you. I'm
olds
with you.
running
I'm
up
with you.
running up on old ladies. You starting to see the most heinous crimes out here, man.
Yeah.
Like
That's
broad
true.
daylight, bullet going
Right.
through a baby stroller.
Yeah.
No, it's a different generation, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's a
saying? So
fact.
they
That's a
they
fact.
they
That's a
gotta feel
fact.
they gotta feel some heat because they are wilding right now.
Yo,
That's a fact.
but I mean, how you call it? So as police departments should be strategic. They can't just go out and start knocking heads. Like, yo, let me just go out and
Some of
run
them are.
everybody up.
Yo.
The
Some of them
illegal
can't wait
ones
to get
are.
out there and hit a nigga over the head, son. Some of them can't wait. Give me the green light so I can wrangle some of these young people up, son.
Nah, you can't hike like yo. I guess that's why they saying, like looking at these offenses because they want to have. You want to be strategic. You can't just run out and be like, yo, all this crime is going on. So let's go out and let's start bashing heads. Like, nah, I think that they have to think about other things to address this.
Shannon, every hood in the Bronx is a hot block.
Yeah.
Every hood.
Yeah.
The
So
Bronx
you
is.
gotta think.
Oh, the
You
Bronx
gotta
is
think. You
bad.
gotta think. You gotta think to yourself. If I'm coming through this block, I might get shot. So it's warranted for them cops to bring the old school square box cars out. That's how they feeling. Like that's
Yeah.
how they feeling.
Yo,
They
You
but
got
Well,
to.
yo, it's 12 precincts in the Bronx that's under this whole broken windows theory, and two precincts in Brooklyn that's responsible for half of the crime in the city. I mean, damn, that's crazy. Just 12 in the Bronx. Bronx is pretty big, and just two in Brooklyn. That they saying that's where the epicenter of the killings and all the shooting
yeah.
is coming from. So in those areas, you're gonna have zero tolerance.
Yo, so are we gonna have anarchy where in those particular areas? And again, keep in mind that us four, we don't
Somebody gonna bust back, bro.
we outside observers, and we
Yeah.
saying send in essentially the New York City National Guard and clean this up. Imagine
Yo,
if we
listen,
live in
dog.
that.
Your comments are going off in here.
Yo, listen. I got look, my mom's live in North
Said the
Shore. She
hood.
got a stump.
Somebody said the hood
Listen,
produces children with PTSD. I know that's right.
listen. My mom's live in North Shore. I got her
That's
a
a
stun
fact.
gun and mace. She got the mace in her hand on Metro North. When she get to 42nd Street, she got the stun gun in her pocket,
Yeah.
and she going downtown, not uptown.
Yeah.
It
It's
should have
bad.
done in broad daylight now. It's
It's
Yeah.
just a
bad.
low level of thinking, man. It's just
Didn't
such a
it
low level
happen
of
when he
thinking, B.
smeared the crap all in, what was it, in a lady face or a man
And lady
face?
face on the train platform,
I'm
he
not taking
smeared her
no train.
face.
I'm sorry. 2-5. I love my 2 and 5 train. We used to enjoy riding them when we were younger, but I'm not getting on no train.
So let
See
me
what I'm
say this.
saying?
Look, let me say this. Hold on, because we have all this public outcry, right? And everybody, we all up in arms about the crime. But remember, when the election was going down, how many people were complaining, talking about, yo, the crime, that damn crime bill, and it did this and it did that. What do you think the crime bill was a result of? People complaining, yo, this crime
Yeah.
is out of control. Y'all need to address this. Y'all need to do something about it. So that's why I'm saying, like, yo, we gotta think
But
about this because
but they quiet. Look at the naysayers is quiet. Look at the bill reform. All them little bastards is out of jail that was going crazy. You didn't hear the liberals. I mean the conservatives. The the De Blasio team talk about, yo, we can't do this and we can't do that. They understand that those criminals are causing the crime, man. They causing crime.
Yeah, they blaming a lot on bail reform. I do think that bail reform they need to look at like on a case by case basis though.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they had the parole officers releasing them people, the criminals, off of probation.
Right.
That's their new law. And then we have the New York State raise the age, which is supposed to protect these children. But I gotta see this. I mean, keeping them in foster care longer, okay, but what are we giving them?
Yeah.
Right.
No
As an
workshop.
alternative.
That's what I
There's no
mean. All
workshop.
these new laws going out that's saying it's to protect us, but is it really? And then I'm so pissed
Man.
off with we're out here voting. I know I vote, but I'm like, you promising me too much stuff. Can I get my George Floyd bill passed? Thank you very much. You promised me the day you went in office, so my happy butt went and vote for you. But I do see myself saying, where the hell is Trump at? I do. I can't lie.
I ain't going that far.
I can't. But I'm
Me
gonna
either.
tell you why.
You're
No,
bugging,
I'm gonna
Janelle.
tell you
Yeah, you're
why.
bugging.
Because when he said he was gonna do something, he did it. Crazy and all.
No,
He did it.
you
This man
You
said
right.
he gonna do something. He ain't do nothing. And then the mayor, I was all for Adams, even though I don't live in the city. I'm like, yes, David Dinkins, yes.
Nah, he definitely ain't David Dinkins. He definitely ain't David Dinkins.
He got to go. He
I
got
get
to
the
go.
sentiment.
And I know it's a lot for him, but I don't feel that he
was
came in
ba-
with the promises. He did. But I think the backlashes from those promises was like, wait, I got to look at this a different angle. I do say every crime, if you commit a crime, you do the time, period. But can we get at these people who are mentally ill? That'll get a lot of the adults off the street who are suffering from PTSD, COVID, anxiety.
but
now
Janelle,
that
listen,
they
you gotta,
gave it a
Depression.
label.
The list is long.
Jan-
Yeah,
Depression,
they gave
Janelle,
a
everything.
label to it.
you
So
got,
let's help.
you gotta give them time. Just give them a year. Just give them a year. Give him a year.
Janelle like, nah, he ain't getting no yeah.
I mean, he
The
got
difference,
look,
I think,
but
so here's
listen, he got the guns down. The guns is coming off the streets, right? They coming. They got a couple of cases now. The homeless people
Yeah.
is from De Blasio. The homeless people is from De Blasio. Let them figure
De
it
Blasio,
out.
true.
Yeah, you're gonna have some casualties. There's always innocent people in war, right? So you're
Right.
gonna have some
Casualties of
casualties.
war.
No, there
Give him
is
a
always.
give him a year. He got some.
Absolutely.
He got some.
I don't. My
He got
mayor
some
lived down the
Bed-Stuy.
block from me. My mayor lived down the block. He always.
Listen, I can carry. I got a gun permit, so I don't care neither. Like I feel you.
I will
You know what I'm
soon have
saying?
mine.
Listen, I don't care.
yeah.
No,
So,
I get it.
one Janelle said the Democratic agenda is not the black agenda. There, we talked about that several episodes ago. I think when the election cycle was going on, we always talk about the black agenda, and I don't know if we have if there's a unified black agenda.
There is no
It's never.
agenda. The
It's
agenda
no.
is to keep telling you it's an agenda.
Yeah, it's not. It's no agenda.
It's no agenda.
We
You
have
know,
no economic play.
this is what the agenda should be. And I hate to go back to, my Nation of Islam days, but back from Garvey all the way to Elijah, the theme was do for yourself. Respect the law, but do for yourself. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, it didn't matter. Make sure you take care of yourself. Don't rely on anyone to create a narrative for you. You create your own narrative. Now, through the years, that just transposed to I want to be accepted. We
Right.
got civil rights, and that threw us in another topsy-turvy spin too. And here we are today, always looking for a handout, always looking for someone to change our narrative for us instead of looking at yourself and changing it for yourself. That's all I hate to say that's all you need to do. There's a lot of things you have to come along with that, but that's the foundation, B. That's the foundation. If you want anything to change, take some accountability for what is going on in your life, B.
Rob, they loving you. You spoke
Yo,
that.
it's no black economic power. So you don't have that. You have no black
You,
agenda.
and that's my point. You are the black economic power. The
Correct.
four of
Correct.
us are black economic power
Yes.
in our own
Correct.
right. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? Once you
So
start doing
true.
stuff for yourself and you don't have to
It
lean on nobody
multiplies.
because that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. This is Jules coming from 1930, 1920. We all know Black Wall Street. Those are people that did for themselves.
Else.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Right.
true.
I
Yeah.
encourage everyone right here to go look up Savior's Day 1974. And here it is, a man who had a third grade education, created a nation. But if you've seen all of his accomplishments, this man was having fresh fish shipped to Peru, from Peru to every last Oasis restaurant that was owned by the Nation of Islam. How did one man do that?
Mm.
It could be
How did he
done.
get how did he get his followers to believe in an ideology of doing for yourself? To this day, you can see it. Every time you see them brothers out there with newspapers, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing it for themselves.
Hmm.
They're
Yep.
raising their family with them final calls and them bean pies.
Right.
It might sound corny as hell,
But they
Right.
but them
doing
brothers, you
it.
look at what they're doing. They open up barbershops. They open up beauty salons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a list. I could go on for days and days and days and days. That's why I respect that notion of doing for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon, I started this doing for yourself.
But you know what you
Mm-hmm.
sound like? A Republican.
Well, if you want to
And
call it
I
a
agree.
Republican, I
I
ain't
agree
calling it
with
a
you.
Republican. I'm calling do it for
You
yourself,
know,
son.
I
you know
agree.
why?
He said,
Yo,
I agree with you.
I
you know
love
why
it,
Corey is
Rob.
saying that though?
That's
You know,
right.
Corey is saying that because the how you call it? It could be interpreted as pull yourself up by your bootstring kind of thing, and that's what
I get it. I get it. I
purpose
get it.
behind. But what you talking about is being self sufficient
Mm-hmm.
and ownership and stuff
Self
like that.
savior, man.
And
You got to save
that's
yourself,
yeah.
man.
And honestly, that's a piece that
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a continuum, and I don't know if everybody is ready for that because self-sufficiency also means that you have to have accountability for your success and your lack thereof of success. So there are some people that are more
You got
than
to be
willing
honest with
to take,
yourself. You got
Yeah.
to be
take
honest with yourself.
accountability
You need
for their
to you need
success.
to know who you are. If you
But
know
there,
who you
Mm-hmm.
are, you know what you can and you know what you cannot do.
so there are
So if you
people that
take
are willing.
accountability for what you cannot do, you make a change. That's
Exactly.
it.
There are
So
people that's
true.
willing to take accountability for their success, but
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to take accountability for their failures. That's why
For their
you have
failures.
things that
Ah, there
yeah,
you go.
Ooh, that
start
was
saying,
it.
yo, this is what is the government doing in terms of this? What's this person doing with this? What's this person doing with that? There's such high levels in our community, I believe, in terms of lack of accountability
Mm-hmm.
that we often look to place blame on
Blame on
people for
others.
things that's going wrong. So we'll have somebody, and we do it to each other because we don't do the proper coaching or tell each other the truth. And I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. There are people
There
that
you
work on
go.
jobs.
That's it.
That work on jobs that they don't go to work every day. They'll get fired, and they'll tell their friend, yo, I got fired. The friend will say to them, yo, what the hell? What's up with that job, that dumb job, or this, that, or, oh, you a boss, this, that, instead of saying, like, yo, bro, if you don't ever go to work, the job is going to fire you. Like, there's such low levels of accountability where you have people that sit around and say, all this stuff is going on with the COVID or whatever. What's the government doing to make sure financially I'm taken care of? But you know how many people became millionaires during the pandemic? You
Mm-hmm.
know how many people learned new skills, trades, and tapped into all kind of creative energies during the
Because they
pandemic?
did for themselves.
And
Now, let
that's
me tell
not
you
a fact,
something.
but
It's
it's a
about to get
mindset.
worse. It's
But
about to get worse. And if no one knows how to plant, you better get a seed and put some peppers on your window ledge because you ain't going to be able to have food. You better be able to create with the God given
Rob,
hand that you, yes,
but
sir.
Rob, but to your point, that's why we come from a different generation. Look, we come from a
Yeah.
generation where in our neighborhood, there was
We.
a lot and there was a green thumb.
mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
one. And
There
then in
was fruit
school,
markets. There was fruit stands.
Yes.
you had a cheer pet. So it was like principles and foundations that
Mm-hmm.
was there. Like it was there. The question is, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to
Or you
learn? Are you
motivated. That's what I
So
said. I think
Yep.
say that one more time, bro. Say that one more
are
Yes.
you
time.
are you are you willing to learn? Because I think as black people, our
Mm-hmm.
problem is nobody listens. And
Yep.
if you can't listen and
You can't
comprehend,
learn. You can't
You can't
you
learn.
ain't
learn.
going nowhere.
You ain't
That's
gonna
why I be
learn.
reluctant. That's why I be reluctant to go back to the hood because they even want to see you in a Porsche to believe you.
Right.
Because if you don't have the Porsche, What you telling them is BS. But dog, I don't live here with you,
Mm-hmm.
so you gotta listen, man. That's fundamentals, man.
Look, listen, and learn, baby.
That's
Yo,
right.
but you know what I think the other part of it also is though. Again, like to go back to like this the representation and the optics when you look on social media. Also, like everybody's a boss, everybody's successful, and
That's
all these things.
fantasy,
I
man. That's the fantasy part.
I
That's
believe I believe firmly that there's a continuum to becoming self-sufficient. I you know how you call it, like I consider myself to be an independent. If we talking about
Right,
from a political
yeah.
standpoint, like I vote whatever my
right,
belief is around it. There are things that I have conservative views about, there are things that I have liberal
right.
views around. And I think that in saying that, what I've noticed is that like somebody said in here, there is an over reliance of like for black people to always tend to lean
Mm-hmm.
liberal. But what I also realize is that people sometimes always lean liberal based on whatever their circumstances are, right? So if I'm in a position where I rely on government providing some kind of subsidy to me or some kind of assistance or whatever, like yeah, my mindset is going to be in terms of the liberal stuff. You know, if I'm more self-sufficient because of whatever financial means I have, whatever knowledge I have, whatever my thought process is, then that frees me. That gives me some level of freedom to move towards being independent and also saying like, okay, so now I'm in a position to be self-sufficient. You know, there's a continuum. I don't think that people could start off in a position of being impoverished and just say like, all right, you know what, I'm going to be self-sufficient, even though our ancestors demonstrated that it could be done. But
Facts.
they demonstrated that it could be done based
With
on what?
less.
There was no other way though.
Right.
There was no
And
other way.
under killing circumstances,
Yeah,
killings.
there was no other way. But now these other resources that's at our disposal may have honestly put us in a position for some people where it's a dependency around these other resources.
Where you go? Where you